Hello, this is Mary Prasad. Visit me at awashwithcolor.com. In this video, I'll be talking about OOKU watercolor pencils, doing a review and comparison, and a giveaway. This is what the full set of pencils looks like. There are 48 in the set, and on the left you'll note there's a white and two metallics, gold and silver. The set comes in this pencil case which rolls up. It's made of a kind of a stiff, thick felt and has an elastic around it to hold it together. This is what it looks like from the top and from the bottom. You can see they're pretty secure in there. Here's the elastic, and this is attached so you won't lose it. You just pull it up and above, and there you go. It's opened. Here are all the pencils. They're very vibrant in color, as you probably could see from the photo. The video doesn't show the vibrancy as well as the photo from the beginning. And you'll notice there is a small sharpener here. It's not a great sharpener, but it works okay. There's also this sort of cheap brush. It has a plastic handle. The tip does come to a point, but I'd prefer to use my own brush or a water brush. There isn't a separate space for the brush. It just tucks in with the black pencil. I like that the pencil casings are painted to match the core colors, and they match pretty well with only a few exceptions. The elastic does hold them securely. I'm just pushing these up because I had counted them earlier and pushed them up and down just to keep count. One thing you'll notice is that they don't have numbers on them, so I had to add my own. I used a black Sharpie to add most of the numbers, except for the very darkest where I had to use a white paint pen. Here's a look at my swatch sheet. I always make a swatch sheet so that I can see the true colors. You'll see number 18 was very light, and the casing is pretty bright, so they don't match exactly. Here's another one, number 33, where the pencil itself looks sort of purpley blue. It's sort of in between the two colors in actuality. There's number 33, and it's sort of more in between 33 and 32, the casing. I'll pull out number 32 in a second, but I wanted you also to note I used a water brush on the lower half of all these swatches so that you can see the dry on the top, and on the bottom you'll see how it looks when it's wet. I forgot to mention that the pencils also do not have a color name at all, so there's just the number designations that I gave them to identify each of the pencils. I wanted to do a comparison of the OOKU pencils with the Prismacolor pencils since I think they're pretty close as far as the colors go. Prismacolor calls these water-soluble pencils, which it's just their version of watercolor pencils. The biggest complaint I have about these is that the casings are not colored. They do have a designation, both number and the name of the colors on each of the pencils, which I do really like, but the fact that they aren't colored makes it a little more difficult to grab the color you're looking for. But as you can see, the comparison to the two charts is relatively close. They both are pretty vibrant. They have a lot of pigment. The only big difference is that the Prismacolor are probably more light fast. They definitely state that on their box, where the OOKUs do not, and that's a selling point, so they probably would. They do say they're artist grade, but I would not say that they are light fast. I wouldn't take that for granted. The Prismacolor pencils are more expensive, and there are only 36 in the set. They also do not have metallics. Next, I'm going to do a comparison of some of the colors in each of these sets. Both sets of pencils come pre-sharpened, but I highly recommend sharpening them yourself. I did not like the way they were sharpened in either of the sets. I sharpened several of the OOKU pencils and they sharpened just fine, although I did have a little bit of breakage because they tend to be a little more brittle at the tip, so you have to be careful with them. The Prismacolor are more waxy and they sharpen just fine, at least the couple that I sharpened there. Both sets of pencils lay down a lot of pigment, although I think the Prismacolors were just a little bit more pigmented. The Prismacolors were, again, more waxy and creamy, and the OOKUs were a little more brittle. You had to be careful when they were sharpened to a point because they would crumble a little bit. Here you can see the Prismacolor and how tiny the sharpening is, the way they came, and that's why I didn't like the way they were sharpened. But they did go on nice and creamy, as you can see here, lay down a lot of color. I'm going to pick out another color in the OOKUs that sort of matches. I'm looking at the chart, so see which one. To get the same amount of pigment, I did have to go over it a couple times, but one thing I noticed is it filled in the tooth of the paper better. I'm not sure if this is just all due to the sharpening of this pencil. It had a little more point on it. It's something with the consistency of the pencil. Now I'm adding some water with a water brush. You'll see that both of these fill in all the tooth of the paper, which makes them look even brighter. You might have noticed that I had to squeeze the water brush a few times when I was filling in the Prismacolor. It seems like they took a little more water, but I'm not sure if the water brush was just not functioning properly or if it was actually needing extra water. I'm going to speed this up some more while I do the reds and the yellows. Next, I'll mix a couple of secondary colors. I'll use the same red and yellow, but I'm going to change the blue to be a cooler blue since that other blue had a little too much yellow in it and I didn't want to make mud. Both sets of pencils mixed very well, although the Prismacolors had a bit more pigment. This is one of my favorite ways of using the pencils. I like to scribble off on a sheet of paper, making it a sort of palette, and using my water brush or regular brush to pick up the pigments from there. Another way to paint with these pencils is to take the brush and go directly to the tip. With the OOKUs, I noticed I had to scrub a little bit more to get them to react, but with the Prismacolors they worked perfectly. For more details about both of these pencils and the comparison I did, please visit the blog link that I'll put in the description at awashwithcolor.com. As for the giveaway, I'm going to be giving this set of OOKU pencils away to one of my subscribers, so be sure to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel to be eligible, and this will be open to U.S. residents only. At least I will be shipping to a U.S. address. If you're outside the U.S. and you have a U.S. address or somebody who can ship it to you, that'd be great. Here's a close-up of the two colors I mixed plus the three colors that I compared from the two sets. This is the OOKU color swatch sheet. You'll probably want to note how well they dissolved with the water on the bottom half. And compare it to this swatch sheet from the Prismacolor pencils. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.